Lesson 3. Sentence Types. In the English language, we can differentiate different types of sentences. In this lesson, we'll discuss sentence types according to their structure. It is possible to talk about sentence types, but according to their function also, or other factors. But here, we'll limit our discussion to the classification according to structure. Before discussing sentence types, let's clarify the difference between a clause and a phrase. A clause is a group of words with a subject-verb combination. We know the type of the sentence according to the number of clauses in it. We take an example to understand the meaning of a clause. The girl runs down the street. Is there any subject-verb combination? Yes. The girl, the subject, and runs down the street, here verb runs. SV. One combination, it means one clause. Let's examine the other examples and try to find the number of clauses. When I saw her, I was surprised. I saw. One combination. I was. A second combination. Two combinations, it means two clauses. The third example, she doesn't like music and she doesn't like art. How many combinations are there? She doesn't like. One combination. She doesn't like. Another combination. Two combinations, it means two clauses. In this sentence, there are two clauses. We may find more than two clauses in a sentence, 3, 4, 5. It depends. Now we try to define what a phrase is. A phrase is a group of words without this combination, without a subject-verb combination. Examples: at midnight, towards the sea, a big black dog, to succeed in the exam, has been playing. Here you notice that we have a verb, but there is no subject. Extremely happy, very soon, the girl, paying attention, disturbed by the news, after lunch. These are phrases. Of course, there are types of phrases, like the girl is a noun phrase. Has been playing is a verb phrase. We may have in English also adjective phrases, adverb phrases, and so on. We call the phrase according to the main element in it. We call it noun phrase because the main element is a noun. We call it an adjective phrase because the main element is an adjective, and so on. We notice in all these phrases that we don't have a subject-verb combination. So the phrase is part of a sentence. And we may have a lot of phrases in the same sentence, even if it is a simple sentence. We summarize now. The clause is a group of words with a subject-verb combination, and the phrase is a group of words without this combination. Here we can notice that the simple sentence is one clause. Let's check our understanding of the difference between clause and phrase in these examples. How many clauses are there in these sentences? It's an earthquake. We start by counting the number of combinations, if any. It's, it is. One combination, it means one clause. When we find that a sentence contains one clause, we can notice that it is a simple sentence. We say that the simple sentence contains one clause. He is a wise man. He is. One combination, one clause. Can you do it? Can you. One combination, one clause. Do it, please. An imperative sentence, it means you do it, please. One subject, one verb, one combination, one clause. I read the whole story. I read. Here, one combination, one clause. I want to buy a phone, but I don't have enough money. I want. One combination, one clause. Another combination, I don't have. The second combination, so there are two clauses in this sentence. This is not a simple sentence. He went to London and he visited the Lords. He went, one clause. He visited, another clause. This sentence also is not simple. Alex smiles whenever he sees her. Alex, subject, smiles, verb, one combination. He sees, a second combination, two clauses. This is not a simple sentence. Now, in these clauses and sentences, we may notice some phrases. In the first one, an earthquake. This is a phrase. A wise man, another phrase. The next examples, the whole story, a phrase. To buy a phone, a phrase. Enough money, a phrase. The Lords, a phrase. To London, a phrase. Now that we have clarified the difference between a clause and a phrase, we'll keep the definition of a clause in mind. This will help us to classify the sentences. Now the clauses themselves have two types. A clause can be independent or dependent. We understand something from the word independent. Independent means free, not related to anything else. And also the same thing can be noticed in the word dependent, which is the opposite, dependent. It means related to something else. So a clause can be independent. We say an independent clause or a main clause. Or it can be a dependent clause. Or we say a subordinate clause. An independent clause is a clause which can stand by itself, alone, and expresses a complete thought. It doesn't need any other element in the sentence to complete its meaning. The dependent or the subordinate clause cannot. This group of words needs another clause which is independent to complete its meaning. The dependent clause always starts with either a subordinating conjunction or a relative pronoun. A simple sentence has one independent clause, one main clause. Let's try to check our understanding of dependent and independent clauses. This is an exercise and we'll do the first example. Write whether the italicized clause in each sentence below is a main clause or a subordinate clause and justify your answer. We mean by italicized the part of the sentence which is written in italics. Now, we take the first one. If it keeps raining, the game will be cancelled. You see clearly that we have two clauses because there are two combinations. It keeps and the game will be cancelled. Two clauses. Now let's try to check whether they can stand by themselves. They don't need the other clauses or they do. We test the first one. If it keeps raining. Now we notice that the meaning is incomplete. We need another part of the sentence to have the full idea. We notice also that a subordinating conjunction is used at the beginning, if. So the first clause is dependent, subordinate. The second one, the game will be cancelled. Now if we separate this clause from the rest of the sentence, it can stand by itself. It is independent in its meaning. So this is an independent clause or a main clause. So you use the same steps or you follow the same steps to find the dependent and the independent clauses in the rest of sentences. Always pay attention to the use of a subordinating conjunction. The second exercise, make sure you finish the first exercise before moving to the second exercise. Find the clauses in the following paragraph. First, find the clauses and say if they are independent or dependent. So you find them, then you try to find their type. Through these two exercises, you will be able to distinguish between the types of clauses. If you are able to distinguish between the types of clauses, you will understand the types of sentences.